When President-elect Trump is sworn into office, he'll have what Republicans believe is a sweeping mandate to change the direction of the country and maybe roll back major parts of President Biden's legacy. From infrastructure projects that bring jobs to driving down the price of prescription drugs to historic investments to fight climate change, Joe Biden signed into law some seismic pieces of legislation, though the full impact won't be felt for years. NBC's Sahil Kapoor has new reporting from Capitol Hill. Mark McKinnon is back with us. Okay, Sahil, I know you've been speaking to Trump allies, to Republican lawmakers, so give us the lowdown on Joe Biden's legacy and what might survive, what might not.
Hey, Chris. Well, there's a lot that President Biden, of course, did over the last 4 years, and Donald Trump and Republicans will be coming after parts of that legacy once they take control of Washington in January. We broke this down into 4 categories, ranging from which parts of Biden's legacy are most at risk to which parts are the safest. Let's start with executive actions. These are the most at risk. Just based on Trump's campaign, we should expect him to unravel President Biden's executive actions on immigration, on LGBTQ rights, especially transgender rights, his student loan forgiveness programs. Those are very much up in the air right now. Abortion travel across state lines. Donald Trump indicated that he doesn't believe there's a federal role in protecting abortion rights. Remember, anything Joe Biden did with the stroke of a pen, Donald Trump can undo with the stroke of a pen. And these are some examples of where we should expect him to try to do that. The second category is spending and tax policies. These are in real danger, in part because President Biden enacted them on party lines with a Democratic-controlled Congress. Now Republicans are looking to undo some of them in their early budget bill next year. That includes, most notably, the Inflation Reduction Act, the clean energy funding measures, the Obamacare tax credits. I've talked to a number of senior Republicans who say that these spending provisions and tax credits will be on the table in their bill, trying to extend the Trump tax cuts as a way to pay for those tax cuts, plus anything in the American Rescue Plan, that early 2021 pandemic relief bill, any unspent funds they say will be on the table. Then there's a third category, bipartisan bills that Biden passed with Congress that are largely safe, things like the CHIPS and Science Act, infrastructure law, the Safer Communities Act, the Modest Gun Law, Respect for Marriage Act, codifying same-sex marriage, postal reform, the Electoral Count Act overhaul. These were ultimately passed with 60 votes. With the help of some Republicans, there's some noise about trying to roll them back, but it's not clear Republicans will have the votes, given that Democrats still have the filibuster. They tell me they will use that filibuster to protect it. Finally, Chris, there's the category of Biden's legacy, which is probably the most consequential. That is the safest. That is the judges he has appointed. 215 in total. Democrats are going to use the lame duck session to boost that number. That includes Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is emblematic of this judicial legacy. Large shares of women, lots of diversity in both personal background as well as professional background. These judges serve for a lifetime. There's nothing that Republicans will be able to do to unseat them, Chris.
Okay, Sahil, that's great reporting. Mark, look, he ran on it, right? Donald Trump ran on this. What do you think the chances are he comes in with a goal, an intention to undo as much of Joe Biden's legacy as he can?
I guess about 100%, Chris.
That low?
Great, really good reporting there. You know, one of the things that Donald Trump did when he became president in 2016 and then did over the course of his presidency was really tested the limits of executive authority and what it could do and hadn't done before. And Biden, to a certain extent, did the same. I mean, he figured that out as well. But the problem is, if you live by executive action, you die by executive action, and that's what's the problem for Biden is. And so Trump is going to look at every single executive action of Biden's, and he can just turn them over on his own. He doesn't need legislative authority to do that. And as pointed out in your report, I think the most prominent of those will be what Trump has campaigned on from the day he went down the escalator, immigration. I mean, he will look at any executive action that he can take to reinforce his pledges to do something about the border.
We've only got 20 seconds left, but is he going to start on day one? Would you expect that?
I'll just take it right there. Immigration is going to be number 1, number 2, and number 3, and the others on the list will go accordingly. But immigration is where he's going to jump in first because that's always been his most prominent and dominant campaign pledge.
Mark McKinnon, Sahil Kapoor, thank you both so much. I hope you both have a great weekend.